Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A woman who conquers every challenge. In this world where adversity is an inevitable companion to our journey, there is a type of woman who rises above the noise of doubt and discomfort, her resolve unyielding, her spirit unbroken. This woman does not simply survive the challenges she faces. She faces them head on, adapts, and becomes more powerful with every step she takes. She understands that life, in its deepest form, is about growth, transformation, and the willingness to confront the very things that frighten and challenge you. Suffering is an inescapable part of life, woven into the very fabric of existence. It presents itself in many forms: loss, hardship, failure, and the inevitable challenges that accompany the human experience. For some, suffering is a source of despair, a heavy burden that feels impossible to carry. But for those who seek to conquer the challenges life throws their way, suffering is much more than an obstacle. It is a catalyst for growth, a crucible in which strength, resilience, and wisdom are forged. The transformative potential of suffering lies in how it forces us to confront our limitations. It brings us face to face with the boundaries of our current capabilities and compels us to recognize that there is more within us than we often realize. When we encounter suffering, we are stripped of illusions and comforts that shield us from the truth. It exposes our vulnerabilities, but it also reveals an opportunity to grow stronger, to adapt, and to redefine ourselves in the face of adversity. Suffering demands that we make a choice to remain stagnant or to rise above it. In this sense, it is not suffering itself that determines the trajectory of our lives, but rather how we respond to it. When approached with courage and determination, suffering becomes a tool for self-discovery and self-improvement. It teaches us to endure, to persevere, and to cultivate inner strength. Through these experiences, we learn what we are truly capable of achieving. What makes suffering a unique catalyst for growth is its ability to break down complacency. When life is comfortable and predictable, it is easy to settle into routines and avoid the difficult questions about who we are and what we are striving to become. Suffering disrupts that equilibrium, forcing us out of our comfort zones and into a state of reflection. It is in these moments of discomfort and uncertainty that we are compelled to examine our values, beliefs, and priorities. Through this process, suffering often reveals hidden potentials within us. It brings to light strengths we didn't know we had, and it forces us to develop skills and perspectives we might otherwise have ignored. For example, those who endure great personal loss often find within themselves a depth of empathy and compassion they never realized they possessed. Those who face professional failures may discover resilience, adaptability, and the ability to innovate under pressure. The transformative nature of suffering also lies in its ability to connect us to something greater than ourselves. It often strips away superficial concerns and redirects our focus toward what truly matters: our relationships, our purpose, and the legacy we wish to leave behind. In this way, suffering deepens our understanding of life and its complexities, enabling us to navigate the world with greater wisdom and authenticity. It is essential to recognize that suffering does not guarantee growth automatically. The process requires active engagement, a willingness to face pain, and a commitment to learn from it. And many people resist suffering, trying to avoid it or numb themselves to its effects, but this only postpones the inevitable reckoning. To harness its potential, we must embrace suffering with an open heart and mind, viewing it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. This mindset allows us to transform pain into progress, despair into determination, and adversity into an opportunity for profound growth. Fear is a universal human experience, an instinct deeply rooted in our biology that has helped us survive countless dangers throughout history. It is a signal, a warning system designed to alert us to potential threats and keep us safe. However, in the modern world, fear often extends beyond immediate physical dangers, creeping into our decisions, relationships, and aspirations. Fear can paralyze us, trapping us in a cycle of hesitation and avoidance, but it can also be a powerful motivator when met with purposeful action. To confront fear with action requires acknowledging its presence without allowing it to dictate our choices. Many people make the mistake of believing that courage means the absence of fear, but true courage is acting despite it. Fear, in its essence, is not the problem. The real issue arises when we let fear control us, when we allow it to convince us that we are incapable, unworthy, or destined to fail. In these moments, the key is not to suppress fear, but to face it directly, using it as a compass that points us toward areas of growth and transformation. Fear often manifests when we step into the unknown, when we venture beyond the familiar and comfortable. These are the moments when we feel most vulnerable, unsure of what lies ahead, or whether we have what it takes to succeed. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that action becomes essential. By taking even the smallest steps forward, we begin to diminish fear's grip on us. Each step proves to ourselves that we are capable of facing uncertainty, that we can navigate the unknown and emerge stronger on the other side. Action in the face of fear does not have to be grand or dramatic. It can be as simple as starting a difficult conversation, taking the first step toward a daunting goal, or choosing to stay committed to a challenge despite setbacks. The key is to break the cycle of inaction, to disrupt the feedback loop of fear and hesitation. Action, no matter how small, creates momentum, and with momentum comes confidence. Over time, the very things that once seemed terrifying begin to lose their power, replaced by a growing belief in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Another critical aspect of confronting fear with action is reframing our understanding of failure. Fear often thrives on the prospect of failure, convincing us that mistakes are something to be avoided at all costs. But failure is not the opposite of success, it is an integral part of the journey. When we take action, we are not guaranteed success, but we are guaranteed growth. Every failure becomes a learning experience, a step closer to mastery and understanding. By embracing failure as a natural and necessary part of life, we rob fear of one of its most potent weapons. Confronting fear is not just about achieving a specific outcome, it is about reclaiming agency over our lives. When we allow fear to dictate our choices, we give up control, letting external circumstances or internal doubts determine our path. But when we choose to act, even in the presence of fear, we assert our autonomy. We remind ourselves that we are not passive victims of our emotions or circumstances, but active participants in shaping our reality. Through action, we take ownership of our journey, turning fear into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Having a clear purpose is fundamental to navigating life's challenges effectively. Without purpose, life can feel aimless, like a ship adrift at sea, tossed around by the currents of circumstance. But with a defined purpose, even the most difficult trials become manageable, for purpose acts as both a compass and a source of unwavering direction. It provides the clarity necessary to make decisions, prioritize actions, and endure hardship, especially when the path ahead appears daunting or uncertain. Purpose serves as a powerful motivator, energizing us in ways that mere desire or ambition cannot. When we have a clear understanding of why we are doing something, whether it's a personal goal, a professional ambition, or a deeper life mission, we tap into a well of determination that keeps us moving forward. Purpose grounds us, giving us the resilience to push through moments of doubt and fatigue. It transforms obstacles from insurmountable barriers into challenges to be overcome in pursuit of something greater. This sense of purpose fuels perseverance, urging us to take the next step even when the journey feels overwhelming. The pursuit of purpose also helps in making sense of suffering. Life will inevitably present difficulties, loss, disappointment, setbacks, but when we are aligned with a greater purpose, even these moments can serve to further our cause. Purpose allows us to reframe adversity, not as something that is happening to us, but as something that is happening for us. The hardship becomes a test of our commitment to our goals, a moment in which we strengthen our resolve and deepen our understanding. Instead of seeing suffering as a roadblock, we begin to view it as an integral part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be. Purpose is not always a grand or world-altering mission. It can be as simple as striving to be a better parent, a more compassionate friend, or a more skilled professional. The key is that it must be deeply meaningful to the individual. Purpose is personal. It resonates at a core level with who we are and what we value. When we have purpose, every action becomes imbued with greater meaning. Small tasks take on new significance because they are steps towards something we truly care about. Even routine actions, when done with purpose, gain depth and focus. In the absence of purpose, we can easily become distracted, drifting from one thing to the next without a clear understanding of why we're doing it. In these moments, it is easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others or to measure our progress based on external markers of success. Without purpose, we become susceptible to the opinions and expectations of others, letting them dictate our choices and path. But with purpose, we define success on our own terms. We are not swayed by the noise of the outside world, but remain anchored in our own vision of what matters most. Developing a sense of purpose is a continuous journey. It requires self-reflection, the courage to pursue what resonates deeply within, and the discipline to stay committed to that path despite external pressures or setbacks. It requires the ability to say no to distractions and to stay focused on what truly matters. As we grow, our purpose may evolve, but as long as we stay connected to it, it will continue to guide us through the ever-changing landscape of life's challenges. It is the compass that keeps us grounded and the force that propels us forward. Responsibility is a concept that many people try to avoid, but in reality, it is through responsibility that we find our true freedom. It is easy to want to escape responsibility, to seek comfort in the idea that we are not obligated to others or to any particular cause. However, it is precisely through the acceptance of responsibility that we discover the depth of our potential. When we take responsibility for our actions, our circumstances, and our impact on the world around us, we unlock the power to shape our lives in meaningful ways. Responsibility is about owning our choices, whether they are easy or difficult. It means acknowledging that we have the agency to influence our lives and that our actions have consequences. This understanding is empowering, for it means we are not passive observers of our own existence, but active participants. Rather than blaming external circumstances, other people, or our past for where we are, we take responsibility for the choices we make in the present. In doing so, we reclaim control over our lives and stop being victims of our own stories. Taking responsibility is not always comfortable. It can feel heavy, particularly when faced with difficult situations that challenge our sense of competence or self-worth. However, it is within these very moments that the greatest growth occurs. When we embrace responsibility, we face the reality of our weaknesses and flaws, but also the opportunity to overcome them. Each challenge is a chance to step up, to act with integrity, and to prove to ourselves that we are capable of more than we initially thought. Responsibility is a process of self-improvement. It forces us to evaluate our behaviors, recognize where we fall short, and take action to correct our course. When we embrace responsibility, we also begin to understand the interconnectedness of all things. Our actions have a ripple effect, influencing not only our lives, but also the lives of others. By accepting responsibility, we acknowledge that we are part of a larger system and that our behavior impacts those around us. This recognition compels us to act with greater thoughtfulness and care. We become mindful of how our words, actions, and decisions shape the world, and we learn to act with consideration for others. Responsibility requires us to step beyond our own self-interest and recognize the collective good. It calls us to contribute meaningfully to society, to family, to work, and to relationships, knowing that our actions create a lasting impact. While responsibility may feel burdensome at times, it is the very thing that allows us to grow and reach our full potential. The more responsibility we accept, the stronger we become. It builds character, teaches us discipline, and develops our capacity for leadership. It requires us to be accountable not only to ourselves, but to others, which in turn strengthens our connections and fosters trust. So responsibility is a fundamental part of personal integrity. When we take responsibility for our actions, we become people others can depend on. This reliability creates a sense of purpose and fulfillment as we understand that we are making a difference, even if that difference is only in the lives of those closest to us. By choosing responsibility, we give ourselves the freedom to become the people we are meant to be. It is through responsibility that we evolve, that we move closer to realizing our true potential. Rather than seeking to avoid responsibility, we must learn to embrace it. Through responsibility, we not only improve ourselves, but we also contribute to the world around us, creating a legacy that reflects the depth of our character and our commitment to growth. Failure is an inevitable part of life, yet it is often misunderstood and feared. We tend to view failure as a sign of weakness, an indication that we are not good enough or capable enough to succeed. This view can be paralyzing, causing us to avoid risks, stifle our potential, and miss out on opportunities for growth. But the reality is that failure is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced. In fact, failure is one of the most powerful tools for learning, growth, and self-improvement. It is through failure that we gain the insight necessary to succeed. When we fail, we are faced with an opportunity to examine our actions, our strategies, and our assumptions. Failure forces us to reflect on what went wrong and why it happened. It asks us to confront our mistakes and weaknesses, to acknowledge that we are not infallible. This process of reflection is essential for growth, as it allows us to learn from our experiences and refine our approach. Without failure, there would be no feedback, no lessons learned, and no room for improvement. Failure provides the clarity needed to correct our course, adjust our mindset, and develop a more effective way of approaching the challenges we face. Failure fosters resilience. When we fail, it is easy to feel discouraged or disheartened. However, it is not the failure itself that defines us, but how we respond to it. Those who see failure as a temporary setback rather than a permanent condition are better able to bounce back and keep moving forward. The ability to persist in the face of failure is a key trait of successful people. They understand that failure is not the end of the road, but merely a detour on the path to success. Every failure teaches us how to adapt, how to be flexible, and how to build our resilience. Failure also encourages creativity and innovation. When something doesn't work, we are forced to think outside the box, to consider alternative solutions and approaches. In many cases, the most significant breakthroughs in history have come from the lessons learned through failure. Failure challenges our assumptions and forces us to break free from conventional thinking. It pushes us to experiment, to try new methods, and to explore uncharted territory. This creative process, born from the need to overcome failure, is often where the greatest innovations emerge. In addition to this, failure builds humility. When we fail, it serves as a reminder that we are not all-knowing or all-powerful. It humbles us and helps us recognize that success is not guaranteed or easily achieved. Through failure, we learn to accept that perfection is an illusion, and that even the most successful people experience setbacks. This humility enables us to approach future challenges with a sense of openness and a willingness to learn from others. Failure teaches us that growth is a continuous process, one that requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace imperfection. Failure gives us perspective. It helps us see that success is not a linear path, but a series of ups and downs. Without failure, we would not fully appreciate the value of success. It is through the contrast of failure that we gain a deeper understanding of what success truly means. Failure teaches us that it is not about achieving perfection or avoiding mistakes, but about learning, growing, and continuing to move forward in the face of adversity. It is through our failures that we build the strength, knowledge, and resilience necessary to ultimately succeed. Resilience is not an innate trait that a few individuals are simply born with. It is something that can be cultivated through consistent effort and a determined mindset. In the face of adversity, resilience is the quality that allows us to persevere, to adapt, and to rise above the challenges that life throws at us. It is the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to remain steadfast in the pursuit of our goals, even when the road is difficult, and to keep moving forward despite obstacles. Resilience is built over time, shaped by our responses to hardship and our willingness to keep going when everything seems to be against us. The process of building resilience begins with accepting that life is inherently uncertain and unpredictable. We cannot control every aspect of our lives, and often circumstances will unfold in ways that are beyond our influence. However, what we do control is how we respond to these circumstances. Resilience is a product of how we choose to react when we face difficulties. Instead of allowing ourselves to become overwhelmed by negative emotions or giving in to despair, resilient individuals choose to confront their challenges head-on. They choose to view setbacks as temporary and to focus on the actions they can take to overcome them. One of the key components of resilience is adaptability. Life rarely unfolds in a straight line, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances is crucial. Resilience allows us to pivot when things don't go as planned, to adjust our approach and keep moving forward despite the shifting landscape. Whether it's dealing with unexpected setbacks in a career, a personal relationship, or a health issue, resilient individuals are able to reassess their situation and find new ways to navigate the challenges they face. This adaptability doesn't mean giving up on our goals. It means recognizing that there are many paths to success, and sometimes the road less traveled is the one that ultimately leads us to where we need to be. Another important aspect of resilience is maintaining a sense of purpose. When we are connected to something meaningful, whether it's a long-term goal, a personal value, or a larger cause, we are more likely to persist through adversity. Purpose serves as a powerful motivator, reminding us of why we're fighting through difficult times and giving us the strength to keep going when we feel like giving up. This sense of purpose acts as an anchor during storms, providing us with a clear sense of direction and an inner drive that helps us remain focused on the bigger picture, even when immediate challenges seem overwhelming. Our resilience also requires a certain level of emotional intelligence, the ability to manage our emotions in the face of adversity. It is natural to feel fear, frustration, or sadness when things aren't going well, but it is how we manage these emotions that determines our level of resilience. Resilient individuals are able to acknowledge and process their emotions without letting them dictate their actions. They allow themselves to feel, but they don't let their feelings control them. Instead, they use emotional awareness to stay grounded and to focus on constructive actions that will help them move forward. Finally, resilience is about building mental toughness through consistent effort. Just as physical strength is developed through exercise, mental toughness is honed through overcoming adversity. Each challenge faced and overcome contributes to a growing sense of confidence and capability. As we face difficulties, we learn that we are capable of enduring more than we initially thought. This accumulation of experiences, each one providing a lesson in perseverance and growth, strengthens our resilience over time. The more we face, the more we learn, and the more we grow. Through consistent effort, resilience becomes not just a response to adversity, but a way of life. Thanks for watching.